Hello, welcome back to the channel of cows nonsense. They're not interesting. It's slightly updated for 2024 Honda Africa Twin. This is my first ride of it. It's not my full review. I've literally ridden it 2 miles since it got delivered to my house the other day. It's a lot of bike. It's a lot of bike, it's huge. It costs about £17,600 now for this one, which has got the DCT dual clutch gearbox. Yummy, so no clutch lever. That adds about £1,300 to the price of the bike. This one's got £2,000 worth of adventure and urban packs on it, I think they are. So hard luggage, 3 boxes. It's big. It's 253 kilos before you stick all that stuff on it. So yeah, let's see how we get on. I think this is one of the most intimidating bikes to use in the world, as Clarkson might say, because look at all the switch gear. My goodness. Now, it's got these 2 screens there because you can get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto up on this. I'm not doing that on this ride because I haven't got long and my brain's not big enough. One other part of the accessory packs on this bike is this little top case thing. I think that's probably meant to be strapped onto something, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just gonna get pegged while I'm riding. Pegged by my luggage. Let's try and get on it anyway, without shattering a patella on the luggage. Right, before we get going, I want to show you one thing that is more baffling than Rishi Sunak's popularity, and that is this screen adjustment. You've got a 5-stage adjustable screen, but yeah, you need 2 hands to do it. I have just done it on the move with cruise control on and slightly veered into a car, but anyway, won't talk about that. Look, no clutch lever, that's just my handbrake. Let's pop that off and then thumb it into life eventually, and we'll talk about the changes. I'm still going for a gear lever. I will get used to it. If you've not ridden a DCT before, you do get used to it really quickly. You press D and it goes into drive, you press it again and it goes into sport, and you can choose how much sportiness you have, and there's manual modes as well. And under here you won't be able to see, but there's little up and down gear levers there, so you can do manual control as well. I don't know if Honda still will let you fit a fake gear lever to it. They used to, but anyway. And then you just twist and go, and we're away. So the Africa Twin is a bit of an odd one. It's one of those bikes I would say is kind of a state of mind bike, because on paper it doesn't make much sense. It's expensive and it goes up against competitors with way more power now, things like the 1300 GS and the KTM 1290 Super Adventure in terms of price, because as I said, this is 19 grand this one, but it's only got 100 horsepower. I say only. Torque is up 7%. I think it's 114 Newton meters now for 2024, and I have ridden one of these a lot before I did YouTube. I toured the North Coast 500 on a DCT Africa Twin back in the day when it only had 999cc. Now it has, I think, 1074, and I really like that bike. When they upgraded it to an 1100, it got a lot more character. This 270 degree crank on it. It sounds really nice. It's not going to come over on YouTube, but it's got a proper off-road rally noise to it, which I do really like. And it's just one of those bikes, if you're riding it and you've ridden it extensively, you'll come to love it. You'll come to really appreciate its comfort, its consonant crushing ability and all the rest of it. But it's always had a 21-inch front wheel. This is the Adventure Sport model, which is new for 2024, and Honda's given it a 19-inch front wheel, so you've got a wider choice of tyres, and the handling is just a lot more road bike. This is Honda saying, look, we know most of you only ride them on the road, so we're going to make one that is for road riders. So it's going to be interesting to see how different it feels. Now, it feels different immediately just because it turns in a lot more quickly. Look, can I put my screen down without dying? Oh, it is down. It's just annoying. But Honda, what were you smoking? Right, we're going to do some back roads today because it's a sunny-ish Sunday and the local motorbike penises are out in force, and if you know anything about where I live, it's full of people doing naughty things on motorbikes. I keep going for the shift lever with my foot, and I've literally just seen the police pulling over a guy on a Fireblade with basically no number plate, and I said, yes, get him. But anyway, first impressions of this is a really lovely, comfortable riding position. The seat foam is 14mm thicker than before. And the seat heights, it's got 2-stage adjustable seat. I think it's 8.4 something to 8.5 something millimeters, and there's an accessory low seat height as well. What a legend, dressed up like he's just come out of fighting Rommel in the desert. So yeah, it's a fairly big bike, even though this adventure sport version has less wheel travel than the 21-inch front wheel version. So this sits lower to the ground. It is more accessible, as well as having a little bit more natural handling as well. But so far, literally, as I said, like 3 miles into riding this, I already really like it. It's very easy. It's a very easy bike to ride. DCT just feels very very natural. But yeah, pulling away, you just, yeah, it is seamless really. And they have improved the DCT's behaviour low down. Pulling away for a stop, they say it's more natural and like feathering a clutch. And I have to say, yeah, you don't really think about it after a while. I always prefer to run the DCT in S mode for snappier shifts, and it hangs on to gears a bit longer. I find if you leave it in D, it's a bit of a race to the top of the gearbox, and that dulls the performance a bit. You can kick it down manually, but I like to leave these things in slightly sporty modes. Now, it has got electronic suspension as standard. I think it's by Showa. I think it's called ERA, electronically adjustable. Yeah, I can't remember what that stands for, I'll be honest. Probably not electronically elephantine rectal assimilation, it's not that. But it does a good job of ironing out bumps in the road, and it's got some setups. It's got soft, mid, hard, off-road, and a custom mode as well, so you can go into the suspension through the dash and configure the suspension. I'm not going to do it on the move, because look how complicated this is. I will certainly die if I do that, but I'll check all that stuff out before I do my full review in a couple of weeks. But yeah, it is good to be back on an Africa Twin. This engine might not have the headline power of its rivals, but you know, when you thumb it down into second gear and just gun it takes a little while to pick up its skirt, and then it does bloody charge pretty hard. Far harder than you think 100 horsepower in a 250 kilo bike might otherwise do, but it's an enjoyable thing to romp along on. It's a bit weird going to a corner quite hot and not braking, sorry, not using engine braking, not downshifting, but the handling, I'm already feeling very at home on this. It's on Bridgestone A41 tyres, so they're pretty decent as far as like kind of dual sport adventure bike tyres go, and the balance at low speed, look, it's beautiful. But I'm not here to ride slowly, I'm here to ride at 40 miles an hour. Go up a gear, there you go. But hang on to first, a little bit too long for my liking there. Now I have to remember, this has got panniers on it, so it does feel reasonably wide at the back. It is, I think, a little bit wider than the handlebars, but what a comfortable machine, really. It is just, it feels like you could sit here and go all day on it. And I guess, again, that's what Honda's aiming this at, people that do tarmac touring, maybe in Europe. And it's got a 25 litre tank, 25 litres, which, given it can get decent fuel economy, Honda reckons this will go about 300 miles on that 25 litre tank of fuel. So it's, you know, up there with your GS Adventures and things like that. I'm not so sure I like the split dash screen. It's like, oh, you've got the one Honda spent all the money on, and then the one they had to cancel their Christmas party for down here to give you that. I understand why they've done it, because when you've got Apple CarPlay, this devotes to that, and that's a touch screen up there, which is quite interesting. Don't think it works on the move, that would probably be dangerous. But yeah, split screens, it is a curious bike. If you've not ridden one before, it's one of those bikes that take a good hour of sitting on your driveway in your pants reading the manual. You can wear clothes if you want, it's just a thing I like to do to bond with new bikes and actually work it all out. So yeah, if you want to sit on your driveway in your pants working one out, get an Africa Twin. No one will judge you except your local courts. Now the looks have been updated slightly for this year as well. To my eyes it looks much the same, just looks a little bit cleaner, a little bit sharper. I'll stick a photo in so you can have a look at what it looks like. But yeah, it's got that proper off-road look. It's still got the swing arm that's supposedly inspired by one of the CRF off-road bikes. Oh yeah, are you just drifting off the road? You're just going to crash into the post box? You're not indicating, are you? No, that'd be beyond the wit of man. Now, I said performance was strong. It's not the most thrilling of adventure bikes, I can tell you that from the get-go. A GS punches far harder than this. I haven't ridden the 1300. The 1250 GS punches harder than this. The KTM 1290 Super Adventures in a different league entirely. But you know, this is a Honda. It's designed to go on forever, which is a curious thing that I remember about the previous Africa Twin, the 1000cc one. When that bike first came out, was it 2017? Something around then? You could get one of those bikes for £99 a month without much deposit. Sometimes I think without a deposit whatsoever. They were really cheap on PCP deals. And obviously this is back in the day before hyperinflation, the economy was fucked. But loads of people on certain internet forums went and bought them because it was essentially a free motorbike for a year, and it's a great motorbike to have to replace a car as a do-it-all thing. And I do remember that so many of those owners got things like rusty spokes on the wheels and things like that. So I wonder if they fixed the wheel corrosion problem, because that was a big bugbear with the original, that gen Africa Twin. I've actually just had a quick stop because I spotted there's a USB connector here. It's buried in there, it's really buried, so that'll be very waterproof. That's the biggest rubber plug I've seen since the night my life changed. But yes, right, let's carry on. I'm a big fan of the way this handles just from side to side, even at 30 miles an hour. It's a lot like someone's covered a sumo wrestler's belly in a lure pack and put them on an ice rink. It's great. Maybe let's make farty noises and accelerate slightly. This is a good thing. This is one of those bikes that if you test rode it in isolation, doing wee, you would possibly be a little bit underwhelmed. It's only because I've done big miles on these before that I know how capable they are as tourists and how comfortable they are, and how when you're doing a big tour it's quite a nice bike to get back on in the morning. You know your arse isn't going to hurt, you know it's not going to throw a wobbly, you know it's just going to be dead easy to ride. And while I'm stuck behind this Ford Fiesta of misery, I've taken one of these off-road. In fact, the first time I ever took a motorbike off-road was at the Mick Extant school run by Honda down in Cornwall, Devon, wherever it is, and I rode a DCT one of these off-road. In fact, I rode down there on one of these, switched to one with knobblies on, and did a whole day in proper sloppy mud in February a couple of years ago, just before COVID. And it was really, really easy to ride off-road for a novice. A DCT helped because I've got one less thing to think about. Didn't have to worry about stalling it on steep inclines and things like that. And it really just looked after me. It's really well balanced at low speeds. And if I had one of those on knobblies or one of these on knobblies, I would absolutely take this green laning because it's got the electronics to look after you. It's got a 6-axis IMU, so you've got your lean sensitive cornering ABS, cornering traction control. It's got wheelie control, 3-stage adjustable. Not sure you need it. It's not exactly picking up the front off the power. And it's got rear wheel lift as well. Control, should I say. It hasn't just got rear wheel lift as a feature. Yes, every time you brake it has to do an endo because that's the Japanese way of developing motorbikes. But yeah, it is a proper dual sport bike. Now obviously this one is more road focused, but you can still take this down a green lane. I used to take my KTM down green lanes with a 19-inch front and it was fine. I said I came on these roads to avoid all the dickhead motorcyclists, didn't I? And now we've got, I'm not blaming the cyclists, I'm blaming the Ford Fiesta that cannot even contemplate going past them. I'm actually really enjoying myself. I'm really enjoying myself. This is a pretty bumpy, crappy road that I don't normally come down on my MT-10. And this bike is making it fun because I've got shove out corners. Yeah, up corners you've got a nice amount of torque. Oh, kick down there. DCT caught me out. Now I guess the question that I'll probably answer in my full review is, would you buy the DCT version, which is £1,300 more, or stick to the manual version like a real man and use a clutch? I'd probably go DCT, to be honest. I'd probably go DCT because it's a really good system. It works really well. It's very rarely in the wrong gear and you can easily override it if it is. It suits the character of the bike though. That's the main thing. A manual gearbox on this bike doesn't make much sense to me. Yeah, sure, it's 10 kilos lighter, but so what? I've got panniers full of Haribo to carry around. And it's just a more relaxing riding experience for me, so I'd probably do it. I'd probably go DCT and get used to it. And it's not exactly like you're going to be doing rolling burnouts or clutching up wheelies on one of these. So there you have it, my first thoughts on the 2024 Africa Twin. As I said, full review will be coming soon when I've dove into the features and had a proper poke around and tried some different suspension modes and done some more miles on it. But if you've got something about this bike you want to find out, drop me a comment and I'll try and answer that question in that video. That is how the internet works. It's amazing the give and take you can get on this platform. Usually just people telling me to stop talking so they can hear the motorbike, but hey, it's Euro 5 baby, can't hear shit. Maybe you can hear the airbox noise. But anyway, thank you for watching. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see my full review of this in a couple of weeks, And otherwise, the next video will probably be my full review of the BMW S1000 XR, which is quite a lot faster than this, and actually a similar price. So there we have it. Hope you have a lovely day. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.